My half-sister claimed she had nothing to wear to a wedding, so she wore her wedding dress.
Don't know if that was the right solution.
I think it might be better to wear nothing.
I think it might be. Just maybe.
The cast. Oh boy, here we go. John, my brother. Jane, my sister-in-law. Susan, my half-sister, and me. By the way, this comes from user TTalGBell, and you can submit your stories at the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, back in the year 2016, my brother announced that he and his girlfriend of many years were engaged and were planning on having a wedding the following year. They gave 9 months' notice, at least, to people who would be invited and also told what the color theme for the wedding would be: purple. Purple.
That's a nice color theme.
In that time, between the announcement and the wedding date, I was easily able to order a dress from an online retailer in London, have it sent to me, and still had time to replace it if I needed, which I did not. 2017 comes, and the wedding weekend has arrived. I live in a different state to my brother, as my mom and I moved from our hometown back in 2013, so we both had to travel across the ocean back to the mainland to attend the wedding. The wedding was absolutely gorgeous. Sunny day on the beach. I couldn't help but cry because my piece of work of a brother was actually marrying the mother of his children and love of his life. He had never seemed happier.
Aw.
There we go.
It's lovely.
John and Jane had 3 kids together already, and the older 2 were flower girls, which was sweet. Now, John is technically only my half-brother. We share a mom, but not a dad yet. But not a dad. Yet growing up, it was my dad who raised John and I. So to him, my dad was his dad.
Oh, so sweet.
Okay, so they're brothers, but technically half-brothers, but raised by the same guy, same different dads, raised by the same dad. My dad, prior to marrying my mom, had a first wife and a couple of kids with that wife, including Susan. John and I have always had some issues with Susan. She was only my half-sister, not John's, but he still included her in the wedding, and as such, a family member and guest. I hadn't noticed at the time, as I was too caught up in the whirlwind of my brother's wedding ceremony, but Susan wasn't wearing purple. No. She was wearing white.
Susan, no.
What are you doing,
Suze?
Susan, what are you doing?
Susan.
Ay. To be specific, she was wearing her white wedding dress.
That's insane.
To someone else's wedding. Yeah, that's insane.
Crazy.
That's
like
insane.
to put on the dress and be like, yeah, this is fine. This is a good idea.
She's like, this is the closest thing I have to purple.
Sorry, guys.
Can't help myself.
Everything else was dirty. I couldn't help it.
Couldn't help it. I only had 12 months
Yeah.
to find a dress that would work.
No, sorry.
John and Jane were pissed, understandably, especially Jane. Cue the reception. Some people have changed clothes. It was my first ever wedding, so I didn't think that far ahead and still wore my soft lilac dress without a problem. While everyone ate and shared some drinks and interacted with the bride and groom, which what I assume to be a normal wedding type vibe. But Susan.
Not Susan.
Oh, Susan.
Not Susan. Don't do it to me, Susan.
Don't do it to me, Susan.
Don't do it.
She was feeling extremely sad and lonely because no one was paying attention to her. Oh, no one's paying attention to me.
It's not your day, Susan.
Someone else's wedding.
Maybe you should wait until your birthday, or maybe you should get married if you want people to pay attention to you.
Susan, I'm
Did you think about that?
about to hit you with the purple.
Nice.
Okay. The 30-year-old woman who wore her wedding dress to someone else's wedding. I wonder why no one wanted to interact with her. Susan began crying maybe halfway through the reception, openly, loudly, and in a way that clearly begged for someone to come notice her.
Oh, and everyone's like, ignore her.
She's literally in the back all the way.
The humanity. And everyone's like, don't look at Susan or she'll start throwing hands.
Susan.
She'll do
And then
something.
someone goes, what's wrong? She goes, oh, nothing.
She just goes,
Yeah.
and And everyone's like, what's wrong, Susan? She's like, it's fine. It's not my day.
It's fine. It's not my day. Do you like my dress? I am a nice person, so I tried to be the good half-sister that I should be and bit the bullet to go sit with her for a while. I asked her what's wrong. Susan, no one's paying attention to me. Me, while staring at her, confused a little, you say,
what do you mean?
Susan, everyone is talking with John and Jane, but no one is talking to me. And when I try to speak with John and Jane, they don't talk to me. I sighed internally, or maybe externally, and couldn't help but wonder how she didn't connect the dots. Me.
Susan, it's their wedding. Of course, everyone's going to be talking to them, and they're going to be busy.
Susan, I don't care. I'm John's sister, so he should talk with me more. Actually, lady, you're not his sister. I am, but okay, that's whatever. I was able to slip away and spent some time with some other family who weren't acting as if this day were all about them. After the ceremony, Jane admitted to me that she was livid about how Susan wore that wedding dress. She had plenty of time to prepare and plan for the wedding and get appropriate attire, but when finally confronted, Susan said she had no other dress she could wear. It's just simply...
Just don't have anything else in my closet.
Simply the only
I know I had
thing.
12 months, but I was busy.
I haven't done laundry in 12 months.
In 12 months. That's not my fault.
I'm constantly buying clothes every day. I don't have the
Everyone's
money.
trying to crucify me. It's not my fault. I didn't have any other options.
This is perhaps a boring tale to most, but even 3, nearly 4 years later, I'm still pissed at my half-sister for doing that. My mom, John, and Jane are also pissed about it still. I've since cut contact with Susan. Her and I never had a good bond anyway, and as far as I could see it, we just shared a dad. But I almost never had to deal with my dad's previous family. As far as I know, John and Jane have limited contact with her, but that can't be helped, as they live in the same city as her now, while I happily live in a place where an ocean is between me and her.
She's like, she is as far as she can possibly be from me.
There is an edit. I finally had a chance to speak to my mom about Dad's previous marriage, as I had some comments expressing concern that my dad's lack of commitment to his other kids was of concern. And here's what I found out. My dad was baby-trapped in the marriage by his first wife.
Hey.
When she fell pregnant, my dad stepped up and did what at the time was appropriate and married her, as he believed the child was his and the first wife said it was his baby. After the baby was born, she admitted the son was not my dad.
Whoa.
You're not my dad. Or I'm not your dad. Okay, never mind. Despite the son not being dad's, he stayed with the first wife to raise the child still.
Wow.
First wife then falls pregnant with a second child. This one is Susan, and Susan is my dad's. First wife had a nasty habit of abandoning dad and the kids for days and weeks at a time without saying anything. Oh,
not great,
she's
not
just
great.
pulling, she's just being mysterious.
Doing a little Gone Girl moment.
Yeah, just a little gone girl. She'll come back. This left dad to look after both babies alone until she came back. I believe this was some of her affair habits. On a random night, first wife actually packed all her things and the kids' things before taking both son and Susan, leaving my dad, who woke the next day to the aftermath of first wife leaving. It was the first wife who disassociated from my dad for no actual reason. Mom told me that dad had no choice but to give up rights to the son and Susan because first wife wouldn't let him interact with them at all, nor herself. Please note, my dad was not abusive to her in any way. Rather, the first wife was the violent one, and Mom explained that there was something wrong with her mentally, but she never sought help. There was also a period of time after Dad married my mom and after I was born that first wife was entirely out of control, and then Dad took in both son and Susan to live with us for a few months, but the son was a violent child. Susan wasn't any better, and both my parents had to contact child welfare after an incident where my brother was taken to the hospital because son had cracked his head open.
Ooh.
And John needed stitches. Because first wife's son was a clear danger to myself and John, it was decided Dad and Mom couldn't keep looking after them. But by the way, I want you to look after yourself. And you
And
can
us.
do so by listening to full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Search OK Storytime. Just give it a search.
Just give it a whirl.
Give it a try.
Give it the old college try.
And yeah, there you can listen to like infinite number
So infinite.
of stories.
Never ends.
But
You're a bottomless pit.
But you know
of
what does
stories.
end this story, and we do
Dang.
have a little bit of story left. But like, where are we at? What are we
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
right now? 'Cause-
Susan's just kind of seems like a mess. Seems like she learned from her mom,
yeah.
or maybe didn't learn from her mom because her mom wasn't there. That's sad.
It seems like
Susan's
behavior is a byproduct of her tumultuous upbringing.
Yeah, I would say so.
Potentially.
I think so.
Doesn't excuse it. However, it does shed light
Shed
onto
light.
maybe why.
Yeah, like if I were writing a story, like a novel, I'd be like, here's the full character arc of how Susan became a terrible person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how Susan ended up wearing a wedding dress
Yeah.
to another person's wedding.
This is all how
Because
it
that's
lines up.
unhinged behavior.
Pretty bad.
That's
pretty
like
bad.
wear a t-shirt and jeans
Yeah.
before you do that.
Yeah.
But
Let's hit this end.
and it looks like the rest of the story. Okay, well, never mind. There was one bullet point. There's one more bullet point here. There were multiple affairs that the first wife had while married to my dad, including a third child that wasn't my dad's, but his best friend's. First wife also had another 2 children after the divorce and tried to claim my dad was the father, even though this was after my dad had married my mom. DNA tests were done, and all of the children, only Susan, the second born, was my dad's child. I hope this helps to clear up anything people were worried about. First wife is also an extreme narcissist, which could explain Susan's behavior.
Yeah, I think it does.
And
'Cause
that,
she seems like an extreme narcissist.
yeah, ding, 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 we figured it out, folks.
You win a prize.
The mother infected the daughter with her bad behavior. But that is the
Man.
end of that story.